Kia ora koutou. Welcome everybody to the Queenstown Ice Arena in Queenstown, New Zealand. Today's action, semi-final, game 2 between SkyCity Stampede and Canterbury Red Devils. This is the decider, folks. We're going to be deciding who goes on to the Burgle Cup Finals shortly. And today will be a finishing aggregate game. So we'll have some things to talk about.
We're back here, Queenstown Arena. Cold, frosty day, and even a colder, frosty evening, but it's heating up here in the barn. Queenstown Ice Arena. I'm Dave Dubnick, bringing to you the battle between the SkyCity Stampede and the West Auckland Admirals. Huge battle last night with the Stampede plucking it out at the last in the shootout with the last next to the last shot on net. Fantastic battle, ending up regulation time 3-all, and a series of goals scored by both Admirals and the Stampede, but the Stampede sunk one more. Momentarily, we'll be bringing you live action here, so I'd say charge up your drinks, get the popcorn ready, lazy boy in position. All right, we're back here, only moments away from puck drop. Saturday night, Queenstown, battle between the Admirals and the SkyCity Stampede. Tonight's officials, Adam Nagy lining with Nick Flight, also, both Queenstown men. And I believe the referee is Ted Howard. A few changes for tonight. From that fracas yesterday, Josh Hurley has been given a 2-game suspension, so he'll be sitting on the bench. And looks like Aston Brooks will be starting in net for the SkyCity Stampede. And for the Admirals, Mason Kennedy will be playing, added to the list, players list for them. So a little bit of a change, but I have a feeling we're going to have the same knockdown, drag them out situation as we did last night. Both teams should be well rested. Ready to roll. Also added to the Stampede list, looks like Cam True. All right. A hot game in the cold town. Good time to start with our sponsors, the ones that make this whole machine run. Of course, SkyCity Stampede, thanks to you, as well as TileMax, LBRP Consulting, AWS Legal, Queenstown Health, Cook Brothers Construction, Crete Works, WT Partnership, James Allen Photography, Media Works, Sign It, Eventify, Queenstown Ice Hockey Club. And once again, a big thanks to Ted and Dan Graham for the beautiful work they've been doing on this arena. Regan facing off against McIntosh. And the puck is dropped, and we have ourselves a hockey game. Big fire pass up ice, and quick shot from Frere. Icing is the call within seconds of that puck drop. On the wings, Regan has Kunst and Vandermeulen. He's got Daigle and Howard Jones in the backfield. Hayward Jones in the backfield. Huge saucer pass up to Frere. Daigle picks it up. Puck bounces. Big shot, early shot on net as it bounced back in front of the net, where McCullum had a little crack at it, but it back down into Stampede territory. McCullum bumped off the puck as he stepped over the blue line. Admirals, Kennedy marching it in. New addition to the lineup. Marches it in, and Stampede gain possession in their own zone. Red line, fired back in on Brooks. Ross, cross ice to Burns, steps past Citroni, and it's marched into Admiral zone, but they can't. Nobody can control it, and it's back to the neutral zone. Big bouncing flick all the way onto Aston's pads, and he's forced to cover up. End to end already. Only not even a couple minutes gone in this first period. Face off to the left of Brooks. Rusky Jones facing off for the Stampede. Back to the blue line. Shot blocked. Shot by Chamberlain, blocked. And it's marched back in by the Admirals. Kept just in. Fight for it on the blue line. Finally tapped out. Reagan's bumped off the puck. Rusky Jones rails it around. Tapped up. And that's Scott Armstrong. Boogies up the ice, can't quite catch his little tap forward, and icing is the call. Face off again to the left of Brooks. Referee unhappy with that face off or something. No neck guard is the call. He's been warned. Rooney forgot, as coming in this year was a rule that all players must wear a neck guard. Chamberlain comes on for Rooney. Puck bounces behind the net. To the point. Daigle with it. Daigle's shot just wide. Brooks kicks that to the corner. And it's marched in awkwardly by the Stampede to the red line, and they fire it in. Chalice gives chase. Daigle picks that up, though, in the corner. Carries behind the net. Hangs on while he sets the play up. Lead pass. And icing is the call. Admirals couldn't quite get a handle on that lead pass. Just tapping it was all they needed to do. Couldn't quite get there. So, face-off will be in the Admiral zone to the left of Chubba. McIntosh facing off for the Stampede. Puck rolls to the corner. Daigle pushes it behind the net. Hayward Jones along the boards, pushes it forward to it. Winston Lee can't catch that. And McIntosh picks it up. Amston, Burns. Burns fires it up, blocked nicely by Daigle. Fired into the Stampede zone, but then quickly rifled out. McIntosh being railed up against the boards as he tries to march it out. Burns with it on the red line. Turns around. Reagan picks up the puck from Burns and carries to the corner. End-to-end hockey at the moment. McLeish with it on the point. Shot wide. Bangs it. Admirals just trying to keep it in. Can't. On the red line. And Ross can't win that battle. And it looks like it'll be too many men. Stampede got caught with the puck rolling in front of their bench as they were doing a line change, a few men changing, and that's a slippery one. So somebody's going to have to go off, and let's see who sits it. Unfortunate Stampede on the back foot early, or the back skate. Big hello, Richie, Tanner, Kingston, and Cash. Big hello to you boys. You're probably enjoying an evening by the fire, watching some spectacular hockey. Corey, if you're watching. Liam. Thanks for watching. James Steele, welcome back to Queenstown. As great penalty kill. Stampede fired all the way down. Ross loosely pursuing. And actually almost winning off of Daigle as he skates it over the blue line across to Vandermeulen. Carries to the corner. Regan rails it around to Hayward Jones. Cross ice, Daigle. Hayward Jones feeds along the boards. Back to the corner. Back to Hayward Jones on the point. Blocked, shot blocked, kick to the corner. Chance for Stampede to clear it. Can't quite get a handle on it. Up but not out, where Kunst puts across to Hayward Jones, and he lets one rip just wide of the net. Daigle. Hayward Jones. And again, another shot from the boards. Daigle. Hayward Jones. One tic-tac-toe here, and it's off the timber. That low ceiling comes into play again here in Hockey Town. Vandermeulen taking those shots from the far boards. And that last one he was disappointed in being blocked and knocked to the timber. Chamberlain's shot. Puck bouncing in front. Tapped behind the net and railed all the way out. Brooks stopped that nicely, but didn't grab it, ending up with a bit of deep slot shuffle, I would say. Lots going on there. Chamberlain with it, centering. And it was a beautiful backhand collection and tapping it out from Amston. McLeish with it now, red line. Chamberlain chases it into Stampede area. Behind the net. Admirals controlling. Chamberlain in corner. Chamberlain shoots, and through a sea of bodies, Ashton Brooks makes the save. Both Chamberlains on that line made it a little bit awkward, but they definitely have some hustle. True. Around the corner. And that penalty's well and truly done. So Daigle carries back into his own zone. Looking for the setup. Starts to march it up. Hits Cristone. Cristone up to Henry. Henry over the blue line, shoots on target and gliding in, trying to get that rebound. 13:30 left in this first period. Scoreless. Face off deep in Stampede territory. And Coyle fires it up to the blue line. Daigle over the blue line. Brooks stick handles it to the corner. And it's batted out to the neutral zone where Daigle picks it up again. Tap back in where McCollum picks it up. McCollum, big lead pass by Chalice into Admiral area. Point, Freer, shot, off the post. Little bit of ting-ting. Through a whole bunch of bodies as well. Freer picks up the puck all over the blue line, across to Devlin tapped in. I think that was McCollum or a Devlin that tapped that in. Beautiful passing. Bit of clutter in front. And away we go. That goal. 12:38. Great end-to-end hockey. Both teams having great opportunities. But that one just bounced in. Got Rusty Jones facing off against Regan. Roby against on the right wing against Kunst. Kunst with it, blue line. Kennedy loses it on the blue line, and it's railed around by Campbell. Bit of a debut for him this year. Shot deflected wide, and the puck is considered to have hit something or somebody on the bench, so it's whistled dead as it was being marched out by the Admirals. Admirals rail it around to the blue line. Battling to get it out, though. Finally tapped up to Cristoni, who can't quite get a handle on it. Burns picks it up in his own zone. Dogged by Cristoni. And McIntosh collects it. Chalice rails it around, trying to hit Freer in the corner. McIntosh hits Amston. Nice shot. Blocked, though. Maybe even broke a stick. And Chalice hits Freer on the blue line. And McIntosh can't get a handle on that as he's pushed into the boards just behind the net. Good passing by the Stampede. Cristoni shot deflected high by True. And Burns battling for it in the corner, along the boards. And he had Devlin with him behind the net. Starting to march it out now. Chalice, blue line. And he tried to hit Devlin, couldn't get a piece of it, and all the way down for an icing call. Face-off will go all the way down to the right of Ashton Brooks. Devlin facing off against Regan in his own zone. Chalice. Harrison can't chase it down. Admirals can't get it out. Shot hitting Regan in the back. Bounces to the corner. Ross picks it up. Shot blocked, goes wide. And Admirals struggling to get it out of their own zone at the moment. Finally they do. Over the red line is step end, shot, pushed to the corner by Brooks. Another wide angle shot just wide. It rolls up and all the way out, forcing Moses into his own zone. Cross ice, Chamberlain taps it in and heads to the bench. Big hit on McCollum. I think that was Winston Lee. And Roby with it in the corner. Moses puts Roby down in the corner. And Freer forced to just fire it in. Daigle with it behind the net. Rusty Jones harassing Daigle behind the net. And Daigle can't do anything but tap it to the red line. Moses with it behind the net. Fires it up, blocked by Scott Armstrong, but turned over, and Admirals with it now. Over the blue line, shot, glove, and collected. Nice shot by Rooney. And Brooks was all over it, though. So we're looking at 9:15 left here in this first period. Face off to the left of Brooks. Back to the point. Puck's in the corner, railed around, and batted up and out. Where McIntosh picks it up. McIntosh loses it behind the net. Sneaky little play there. Didn't even see him moving up there. Van der Meulen leaves for Kunst. Beautiful play. Little give and go there. Right in the high slot. Van der Meulen battling behind the net with Burns. And it's kept in still by the Admirals. Kennedy forced to the corner. Van der Meulen leaves beside the net. And Amston finally taps it up. Reagan picks it up on the red line. Backhands it in. And Amston collects in his own zone. Wide rink pass to Devlin. Devlin somehow pulls that puck out with two of the Admirals around him. And he takes a wild shot from the other side. True, taps it towards the net. Bounces off the boards, and now Admirals march it out. Cristone taps it in from the red line into the corner. Devlin picks up the puck on the blue line. But Admirals steal it from him. And I heard a ting-ting there as the Admirals, I'm not sure who that was, released a nice shot. And here's Devlin. He's got Chamberlain to beat. Ross cross. Great defense as Harrison couldn't quite get a full piece of that as he was being dogged a little bit. But I think that was Regan. No, Murray. So great back checking by the Admirals to break up that power of three. Roby, quick off the face-off shot. Jones behind the net. Shot. Point blank shot. Point blank range shot. And still rolls behind the net. That's Campbell. Rusky Jones. And McCullum battling in front of the net. But somehow Sheva makes the block. The puck was, I think the net was knocked off the mooring, so they blew the whistle. Railed around by Daigle. Kept in as Roby takes it to the corner. Can't center, and he's knocked down. Back to Freer on the point. Freer takes a shot, went off Stepan's ankle. Chamberlain gives chase. And puck rolling around as Brooks finally covers up. Lots of hitting there. And unlucky bounces there for the Admirals. So good battles in front of the net at both ends of the ice. Face off to the left of Brooks. Ams muscles his way all the way down the ice. Bouncing off about three Admirals. Freer picks up a puck on the blue line from McIntosh and fires it on target. McIntosh losing it. And McIntosh with it in his own zone. Freer. Kennedy forced to chase behind his own net as Freer chases him. Battle goes all the way down to Stampede area. where Chalice rails it up. And Devlin could not quite get back onside. So close. Harrison picked up that puck and was hightailing it, hot stepping over the blue line. Admiral zone. Stepan puts it up to Vandermeulen. Takes that shot. Looks like Harrison will be sitting in the ice box. And Adam Nagy, linesman, gets in there quickly to break things up. Doesn't want it to escalate. We'll see whether it's just see what that call is. 5 minutes, 29 seconds left in this first period. He's got a 2-minute penalty. And they're trying to get him off the ice. He's not very mobile, to be fair. Yeah, he's working on him. They've got the physio there. He's a little dazed and confused. He'll be checked out. That was Stepan. Railed into the boards. Big discussion here. Referees, linesmen, Freer and Daigle hanging out on the outside of the circle, listening in. Secret squirrel stuff. No matter what, the Stampede will be down a man. 5-on-4 for the Admirals. And power play opportunity. Stampede had a penalty earlier this period and were successful in killing that penalty with no goals scored. So now Ted Howard's having a discussion with the coach. All right, now we're ready for puck drop. Puck to the left, drop to the left of Brooks, and it's batted all the way around. Daigle picks it up behind the net. Trying to set it up now, marching it up, Kunst with it through Devlin's feet, over the blue line. Regan picks it up, Regan putting it in front. Daigle picks up a loose puck on the blue line. Blocked and fired all the way down by Ross, where Hayward Jones picks it up. Vandermeulen being dogged by Devlin. He spins away from that. And now Ross gives chase. Hayward Jones with it on the red line. Puts it into Stampede territory. And here's a chance for Ross. Ross all by his lonesome. Tucks it in. Shorthanded goal. Yes. Just held on to it for that extra second as Chubba had to make a decision. So, shorthanded goal. 2-0 here in Hockeytown for the home team. as the Admirals will still have time on the clock. There's still a minute left in this penalty, have a chance to dig it out. Puck controlled by Stampede. Big lead pass to Roby. Chamberlain gives chase. He's got Roby battling him. And Chamberlain bounced off the puck on the blue line, and it's fired all the way back down. Chamberlain with it. Blue line, off the boards to Vesper. Over the blue line. And it's bouncing around the blue line. Centered, Amston saucers it down behind the net. Big lead pass to Cristoni on the red line. Chamberlain over the blue line. Carries. Tight angle shot. Chamberlain ends up with it. Shot off the stick of Brooks. Huge play there by Cristoni in front. Slot position. And Brooks covering that up. That penalty is over. And there's 3 minutes, 13 seconds left. So, more than unscathed. SkyCity Stampede come out with a plus on that penalty kill. But the face-off is deep in that Stampede zone at the moment. McIntosh facing off for the Stampede up against, I think that was Regan. Puck behind the net where True picks it up. Can't hit Chalice. Cristoni gives chase, but beaten by True. And Chalice being pushed around and loses it on the blue line. Moses picks it up. Cristoni hits Henry. Backhand. Nice little tic-tac-toe there. Henry couldn't get a real good purchase on that puck. McIntosh knocked down along the boards. But McCollum picks it up on the blue line. Cross to Freer. Freer takes that shot. Puck bounces in front. And Admirals get it out. Not for long, though, as McIntosh takes it back into that zone. Behind the net. Puck up and all the way back down. Kuntz and Vandermeulen with Daigle. Daigle takes the shot just wide. And Stampede kind of scrambling a bit there. And Regan with it. Pushes it over the blue line, but knocked off the puck. So Freer has it behind the net. Harrison bounced off the puck on the blue line. Is Regan. Shot through a bunch of people. And Brooks picks that up. Ross can't keep it in. Forced to take it to the red line and try again. Burns can't make that pass in front as Regan intercepts, but Devlin takes his puck. Devlin down the boards. Moses with it behind the net. Nice work by Amston to keep it in, but finally Admirals get a handle on it. Rooney on the blue line. Rooney steps, shoots, and Brooks covering that up with only 52 seconds left in this very exciting first period. End-to-end hockey again. Stampede doing a good job of forcing the Admirals outside, taking those wide-angle shots and leaving to Brooks to make the save. Murray forced to hustle back because he's got McIntosh right on his tail. Murray with it. Skates it over the blue line. Taps it behind the net. In front. Shot again. Brooks making spectacular work of it. And again, coast to coast, post to post. Brooks, huge save on his left. Kicks off. Comes around for the Stop the wraparound. Holy moly. Great ending to a period with only 26 seconds left. Great effort by the Admirals. I think that was Regan perhaps carrying behind the net. Wraps it around and only to hit Brooks's pads. You have to work hard to get across there. Frere in the corner. Rails it behind the net. McIntosh back to Frere. Frere hits McIntosh, who's on the ice. Can't really do much with it. So Admirals pick it up, and Regan, or Vesper moves it out to the blue line, and it's tapped off his stick. And that ends the first period as McIntosh gives chase and Chuba covers up. Well, if you think that was exciting, you've got 2 more periods of this. So don't go away. Charge your drinks. We'll bring the second period to you very shortly. I'm Dave Dubnick, and we're here in Queenstown, Hockey Town. Welcome back. Second period, Queenstown Arena. Game between SkyCity Stampede and the West Auckland Admirals. I'm Dave Dubnick, and I'm bringing you the play-by-play here in Hockeytown. First period, Stampede punched in 2 goals, one a shorthanded goal. Admirals had plenty of chances. We'll see what this second period brings. McCollum with it. Stops on the red line. Feeds true. Freer rails it up the boards. Turned over though. And Freer ends up with it again. Chalice, where Freer picks it up and shot. Quick shot on net. Freer and Daigle in front of the net. Face off to the left of Chevo. McIntosh in there for Stampede. True. Puts it to the corner. McIntosh picks it up behind the net. McIntosh carries along the boards. Rails it all the way around. Chalice, who fakes. McCollum picks that up on the blue line. Puts it along behind the net. McIntosh being dogged, but still has it in the corner. Still has it. Cross ice. Where it bounces off the boards and behind the net. Daigle with it now behind the net. Admirals trying to get it up, and they finally get it out. Regan gives chase to Freer. Daigle picks up a loose puck on his own blue line, carries into his own zone, and being pushed around by Ross. Once again, red line tap back in. Hayward Jones with it now, loses it on the on the blue line. That's tapped in by Vesper. Harrison taps it up to the blue line. Devlin picks it up, puts it over the blue line. McCollum across to Harrison. Puck rolling in front. Open net. Not a Stampede able to collect it. Tapped all the way down the ice. And Brooks pushes it to the corner. Ross, little flick, but batted in by Kennedy. I think that will be a hand pass. Face off in the offside dot. That was an interesting little flick by Ross, trying to get it over Kennedy's head. All right. Regan facing off against Rusky Jones. Amston taps to the red line. Kennedy fires it back in behind the net. Burns taps it across ice to Roby, but it's batted back in. Offside is the call. A little bit late on the call, but Stampede will take it. Kennedy with it on the red line. Taps it in. Amston bangs it out. Kennedy picks that up. Taps it in. Caleb Chamberlain spins around, fires it. Brooks gets to the corner. Amston across to Burns. Burns starts to step forward. It's in the corner. Finally marched out. Regan boogies along that blue line, works hard, and slams on the brakes. Winston Lee picks up a puck in front, deflected high off the glass. Puck rolls behind the net. True, taps up. And it rolls through a couple players, so no icing. Battling for it along the boards was Roby. And Chalice is forced back into his own zone, being dogged by Rooney. Coyle on the red line. Pushed off the puck. But it's in the Admiral zone. Centering. As McIntosh goes down, he centered the puck. No one there to collect it. And the Admirals now in the corner. Coyle pushing off the puck, but Hayward Jones takes a shot from the point, and Brooks is forced to cover up as Winston Lee and Coyle having words. I think Coyle just taking offense to Hayward Jones's close proximity to Aston Brooks. Faceoff will be in the Stampede zone to the left of Brooks. Jono, you're probably watching. Frankie, maybe. Bex. Nigel, surely you're watching this exciting hockey game. Cross ice, Daigle with it. Cross ice back to Vandermeulen. Back to Daigle. Daigle bouncing puck through his stick, and he bats it behind the net. Vandermeulen bats to the corner. Hayward Jones on the point. Vandermeulen along the boards. Marches it in a bit. And Clutter in front, and great work. I think that was perhaps Daigle. Nope. Gunst. Clutter in front. And Brooks could not get across to the far side in time as he taps that in. We have a hockey game, 2-1, 15-23 here in the second. Casey, if you're watching, big hello. Missing you here. Joel, where are you? Probably sitting at home, hugging the fire. Missing you here. Referees just sorting things out here. And puck will be dropped shortly. Admirals worked hard to get that goal. Just kept that pressure on, kept closing in and centering the puck in a bunch of clutter. And it worked. Daigle with it on the blue line. Couldn't collect it. It's bounced all the way in by Harrison. Daigle spins in the corner, takes it behind his own net. Hayward Jones cross to Kunst. Can't do much with it. And it's dumped back to the neutral zone. Hayward Jones falling as he encounters Rusky Jones, and Daigle's forced to carry behind his net. Over the red line. Rails it around to Regan on the far side. Regan feeding Vandermeulen, and shot again. Skating in sneakily. I believe that possibly was Kunst again. Wow. Bit of a sneaky there as he drifted in behind the Stampede defenders and just high slot tapped it in. So 2 quick goals, whole different game. 2-all, 14 minutes, 28 seconds left. Those 2 goals were probably not far off a minute apart. Ross forced to give chase against Henry in the corner. Rolls behind the net. McIntosh. Vesper taps it off his stick. He has to circle around behind the net. McCullum. McCullum wide pass to Freer. Freer moves it all the way down the ice. Tries to collect in the corner. McIntosh centers. No one there. And here's a chance. Henry. Huge work. And don't know how he got a handle on that, but it went wide. Castoni almost got that goal. Battling for it along the boards. Chamberlain, that's Kellum. And finally, Caleb Chamberlain with it. Drags it to the corner, back to Regan. Regan takes a shot. Brooks covers that up. Centering pass in front, bounces off. Chamberlain takes a shot from the point. Murray taps it to the corner. Stepan gives chase as McIntosh is forced behind the net. Stampede struggling to get it out. It's played by the goaltender, Chuba, so there's no icing. And Caleb Chamberlain with it. Puts it up to the blue line, but it's lost as Harrison skates along the boards. Behind the net. True shot off a skate in front of the net. Bounces off the glass behind the net. Stampede controlling with Harrison. Leaving for Ross. Ross with Devlin. And finally, Chamberlain with it. Rails it up to the red line. Cross ice to Harrison. Harrison over the blue line, fires it in. And Devlin gives chase. Huge work as Chamberlain marches it out over the red line. Backhands it in as he goes to the bench for a break. Armstrong fires it across ice. And it ends up in Admirals territory. Rooney taps it up to where Armstrong picks it up. Cross ice, feeds Roby nicely. Takes a shot deflected high and wide. Keeping it in is Burns. Freer takes that shot and finally covered up by Chuba. That was quite a frantic series of phases, different ownerships, and quite quick. 2-2 still after those two quick goals by the Admirals. First period, it's been all Stampede. Second period, so far, Admirals 2 goals. Puck rolls all the way onto Brooks's pad. And Burns took offense to the snow shower that was put onto his goaltender. Rooney and Brown and Burns. So Rooney will take 2 minutes for showering the goaltender with snow, and Burns, retaliating, will get a bit of a roughing call. So we'll see what happens here. We'll see what the actual calls are. Face-off will be down in Stampede area. 11 minutes left in the second period. And 4-on-4. Puck to the corner. Daigle can't get a handle on it. And it's on Ross's stick. Ross across to Devlin. Devlin just puts it onto a Admiral stick, and Vandermeer chases it down behind the net, battling against Burns. Behind the net. Still, Admirals still putting heaps of pressure on the Stampede in their own zone. Stampede struggling to get it out. Big line change as the Stampede finally march it into Admiral territory. And Admirals turn it over behind the net. Try to clear it up. Vesper beats Rusky Jones and carries it in behind the net. And it ends up on Campbell's stick. Campbell taps it up, but not out. And Brooks covers that up. McIntosh is sitting off. Sorry, I think for the Stampede, and Rooney off for the Admirals. Not too clear on all that. Let's see if we can iron that out. Looks like 5-2. So 5-on-5, 5 minutes in the ice box. Freer with it. Gives to McCollum in the corner. McCollum. Big bouncing pass onto the blue line where McLeish picks that up. Kept in by Devlin. Devlin feeding Harrison, takes a shot. Puck rolls to the corner. Admirals controlling behind the net. Feed. Regan can't quite collect it. McCollum. Freer. Red line. Fires it high and wide off the glass. But it's kept in. And Rusky Jones is battling for it in the corner. Freer, again, off the glass, and it rails all the way back. Coyle's forced to chase it to the blue line. Coyle, cross ice to Freer. It's Lockie Freer. And Rusky Jones chases as the Admirals start to march it out. McLeish taps it to the red line where Coyle picks it up and just bats it all the way back down. And icing is the call. Face off to the right of Aston Brooks. 8 minutes, 1 second left in the second period. Winston Lee taps it around behind the net. True picks that up, but he's being pushed off the puck. Up but not out. And again, behind the net. Chalice to True. True bats it around to Freer, who bats it to the red line. Freer picks up a puck on the red line. Up but not out as Rusky Jones feeds Freer. Freer, shot, scores! Rusky Jones feeds Lockie Freer. Taps it in. Nice quick little shot from the left of Chubba. Ekes ahead, 3-2. Crowd liking that after the last 2 goals that were scored by the Admirals. Quickly, kind of quieting the crowd down. So well done, Lockie Freer. Firing up the hometown crowd. Daigle rails it around behind the net. Brooks stops it. And Stampede tapping it up. Hayward Jones. Vandermeulen. Kunst over the blue line. And Devlin with it now over the blue line. He's got Ross with him. Leaves for Ross. Ross. Shot. Good block save by Chaba. Ross picks that up behind the net. Centering all the way back to the blue line where Burns couldn't get a handle on it to take that quick shot. And Ross with it again. Being muscled around. But ends up with it. Great opportunity there for Roby. Could one-time it. Ross fed him nicely. Back to the point. That's Amston. Taps it around to the corner. Vesper battling for it against Scott Armstrong. And it rolls behind the net. Finally out where Amston picks it up. Hits Burns. Burns over the blue line. Armstrong taps it in behind the net. Armstrong in the corner with it. It's railed all the way up, but not out. Amston keeps it in. In the corner and tapped out to Amston's glove where he controls it and taps it all the way back in after stepping over the red line. Behind the net. McCullum fans on his pass and it rolls onto Hayward Jones's stick and he fires it in. Batted back to the neutral zone. Cross ice to Chalice. Chalice feeds behind the net from McIntosh. McIntosh skates to the point. Cross ice. Freer fakes it, taps it to the corner, and it's batted out to the red line. McIntosh with it. McIntosh bounces off a skate. He can't control it. And it's bouncing around in front, forcing Chubba to just cover that up. Frightful puck bouncing in front. Big hello to all you national viewers. Interesting game, 3-2 Stampede. Stampede opened the scoring, 2 goals in the first period. Admirals said no to that. Pumped in 2 very quick goals second period. And then just a few minutes ago, Stampede pushed one past Chubba. And it's 3-2 for the Stampede. Freer forced all the way back into his own zone. Behind the net to McCullum. McCullum rails it around, back to Freer. Freer in the corner, back to McCullum behind the net. Backhand, can't get it out. Dangerous backhand, feeding the point, and good save by Brooks. As Ross carries it all the way in, and it's turned around by Chamberlain. Over the red line, firing it in. Brooks stops that behind the net. Rooney picks up the puck. And the whistle is blown. Gets offsides the goal. Or not. Nope. Rusky Jones against Moses. True can't control that and feeds the Admirals, who took a quick shot on Brooks. Quickly kicks that to the corner. Hayward Jones from the point feeds the corner. Cole picks up that centering pass from the Admirals and fires it down, and it goes out. Puck rolling around in front. Batted to the boards. Daigle steps past a couple of the Stampede. Takes it to the corner. Campbell fighting hard against Daigle. And pass ends up bouncing into the neutral zone. Daigle rails it all the way around. Where Campbell kicks it out to the blue line. Brooks stops it. Good feed pass to Chalice. Chalice steps over the blue line. And Freer can't get a piece of it in front of the net. Admirals turn it around. Shot. Kick save by Brooks. McIntosh taps it out over the blue line. Chalice. Freer. Cross ice. Can't keep it in. Chalice battles against Vandermeulen. Amston with it behind his net. Back to McIntosh, who feeds Amston again. Amston with it again from Chalice. Off the boards to Freer. Vesper can't get a piece of it, and Chalice digs in over the blue line. Back to the point for Burns. Burns taking a slapper. And I don't know how Chubba saw that. Covered it up. Fantastic work. So we're looking at only 1 minute 55 seconds left in this second period. Face off to the left of Chubba. Stampede win. Quick shot. Chubba forced to cover up. Nice play. Chubba was all over that. Once again, face off to the left of Chubba. Devlin. Not so lucky on that one. Daigle off the boards. Feeds Cristoni. Cristoni up and finally gets it out where Henry just drops it on the blue line. Daigle picks it up over the blue and skates. Shot. Burns blocks that. And Amston with it in the corner. Amston's got a bouncing puck. Needs some help. And he's got Ross booging in onto. Moving in on Chubba as he collects that puck. Great end-to-end hockey. Must be only seconds now. 1 minute 21 seconds left. Second period. 3-2. Stampede eked ahead in the latter part of the second period. Face off to the left of Chubba. Puck rolls behind the net. Daigle controlling in the corner. Cross and out. Where the Admirals. And offside's a call. Just a battle right on the big blue stripe. And obviously referee Nagy, Adam Nagy, not happy and calls it as an offside. Stampede along the boards. That's Chalice. Bouncing it off Regan's body. And it ends up in Admirals territory. And that was the 1 minute. That was the 1 minute call left in the first period. Back to the point where Freer crosses to McCollum. McCollum takes that shot just wide. Freer boogies to keep that in. Another shot. Back to McCollum off the boards. Taps it to the corner. Where McIntosh gives chase. Got Ross takes the centering pass. And I think the only spot there is no padding. Regan takes it right in the arm between the shoulder pad and elbow pad, I guess. Simple deflection. Unhappy with that. Exciting last minute with 19 seconds, 19.4, sorry. 19.4 seconds left. But that can be a lifetime in hockey. Time. McIntosh. Draw shot from the point. And scores! Chalice. Big scramble in front. McIntosh had a crack. And Chubbas made a great save, but the rebound was sitting deep slot where Chalice scraped in and slipped it under. So, like I said, that only took 5 seconds. And Stampede eke out another goal here in this second period. Resulting in a 4-2. With only 14 seconds left. Not sure if the Ross family is watching from Canada. Big hello to you. As well as the McCallum clan. I'm not sure what's discussion, but who is it? First. So it looks like Lockie Freer is in the box. We'll find out what that's all about late in this second period. Puck drop, 14-13, 12. Daigle with it. Daigle over the blue line. Pushes into the corner, centering pass, leaving for Vandermeulen. And great shot by Vandermeulen, just a little bit wide, and Brooks loves that. Flashes the leather. Face off to the left of Brooks. Stampede shorthanded for the net with 4 seconds left. Hayward Jones taps it in front, and Amston just holds on till that. Holy moly, what an ending. So I'll find out about that penalty to Freer. It was sometime around that goal. Anyway, into the second period, 4-2 Stampede. We have a very exciting third period coming up. Remember, the Admirals will be starting off on a power play. I'm Dave Dubnick, and I'll be bringing you the third period shortly. And we're back here. Third period. Holy moly, what a second period. Goals, bit of a argy-bargy. Now, Lockie Freer is going to start this third period in the box. Well, he's, 1:46 left in his penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct, but the penalty still stays, so that incident must have occurred post-goal. So let's see how it goes. Admirals, good opportunity to claw one back, 4-2. Admirals are sitting on a power play for the next 1 minute, 46 seconds. McIntosh against Regan, face off. Hampton just rails it down the ice, forcing Daigle to collect it. Drags it behind his neck. McIntosh gives a little bit of chase. Daigle over the red line, over the blue line. Leaves for Vandermeer on the point. Hayward Jones hits Daigle on the far boards. Kuntz hits Daigle. Hayward Jones. Shot wide, bounces back to the red line. Daigle carries in. Rails it around, forcing Hayward Jones all the way back into his own zone to collect that. Rusky Jones hassling him. And Stampede in their own zone, fire it all the way back down. Chamberlain. Caleb fires it up. And Vesper carries all the way in. Robbed off him and fired all the way back down. Good penalty kill so far by the SkyCity Stampede. Daigle feeds Caleb Chamberlain. And again, Stampede just shut that down in front of the net and tap it all the way out. Sebastian Chamberlain with it. Feeds McLeish. McLeish back to Chamberlain. Chamberlain fans on that pass and almost leaves it for Dylan Devlin. Caleb over the red line, passes to Rooney. Rooney dumps in front where Vesper couldn't get a piece of it. Once again, Stampede get it up but not out. Devlin in the corner with it now. Fans on it, still controlling it behind the net to True. True taps to Ross over the red line. Ross. Shot on net. Still has it though. Feeds across ice one time by True. Flippy puck. And it's fed forward loosely into Stampede zone. Railed back all the way. And that penalty's over. I think it was Sandra Ross. I see it's 3 a.m. back home, back in Canada, watching young Ross here skating. I don't know what you're doing at 3 a.m. I guess not enough hockey in Canada. Great to see. Fans from all over. Daigle with it in his own zone. Icing's the call. So it'll go all the way back. Full strength for the Stampede. 5-on-5. McIntosh facing off against Regan. To the left of Chuba. Back to Burns, but Daigle just taps it past Burns and it ends up all the way in SkyCity zone. Chalice, McIntosh to Freer. Can't feed Ross. And it's in shot. Good work by Vandermeulen. He weasels his way into that deep slot and takes a good shot, but Brooks is right there. covers that up. Stampede have a line change. Rusky Jones will be facing off against Regan. To the left of Ashton Brooks. Not happy with that puck drop. Whistle blows. Reset. Rinse and repeat. Big hello to Bex. Hugging the fire. Sitting at home. Hi to Glenn. And the kids. McLeish with it in his own zone. Kuntz. And Daigle, Kuntz. Rusky Jones picks it up and fires it around. Back to the point, but not out. Shots. Oh! I think that was McCollum, just rips one off. And I heard a little ring-a-lingle. Good save by Aston Brooks. Kicks to the new, kicks it, picked up by Freer. And McCollum has it now in his own zone. McCollum starts to move it forward. Skates past Vandermeulen over the red line. Long shot on net. And Admirals behind their own net. McLeish in the corner. Off of Harrison's leg. And McLeish ends up with it again in his own zone. Starts to step it out. Red zone, dumps it in. Brooks stops it behind the net. Ross starts the motor over the red line. Harrison, far side, picks it up, carries to the corner. Harrison, does some great work all the way through the middle, but can't actually get a shot on net. Devlin's shot scores! I believe Chubba was screened on that, but it was upstairs. Dylan Devlin stretches it out. 5-2. My goodness. 14:47 left in this third period. The Admirals are going to have to really step it up, start digging out some goals. Centering pass by Chalice. No one there. And big hustle there, Admirals against McIntosh. A couple of them. And Admirals end up with it. Or stepping over the red line, over the blue line. Shot. Puck bounces. And it's a goal. Brooks. Glove. Not sure if he thought it deflected or if he had it, but it was teetering in the air, spinning in the air, and rolled in behind him. Anything can happen here in the NZIHL, so my statement may have come true. The Admirals, I said, had to step it up and dig out a goal, and they just did. They're within 2 now. 5-3. 13, still only 14 minutes left. Now, referee not happy with things here. And the whistle is blown, and we'll have a reset. Rinse and repeat. Puck drop at center ice. That was Rusky Jones up against Moses from the Admirals. That's also put a little bit more bounce in the Admiral step to get that goal. Stampede couldn't quite hit McIntosh on the blue line, and couldn't quite hit Scott Armstrong on the blue line, and it bounces back into the neutral zone. Kennedy cross to Rooney, can't collect it. Onto Amston's stick. Amston. Roby. McCollum. Rusky Jones. Shot wide. And it rails up and all the way out as I believe the Stampede were caught on a defensive line change. Lucky bounce for the Stampede as they carried out over the red line. Harrison over the blue line, shot off a skate. Great work by Sebastian Chamberlain to block that. And icing is the call. Bringing it all the way back into Admiral zone. .13 minutes, 4 seconds left. 5-3. Stampede. Face off to the left of Chubba. Freer with it. Sorry, Ross with it. Tries to center, can't. Picked up by Kunst. It's off a skate and ends up in the neutral zone. Dylan Devlin was way, way, way offside. I think he had wiped out behind the net. And Kennedy knocked behind the play. Kennedy knocked down Dylan Devlin, and he's got a cross check. So chance for Stampede with the power play. Ross, cross ice. Chalice feeds McIntosh in the corner. McIntosh. Chalice skates it, shot. Chaba knocks that down, pushes it to the corner. McIntosh with it. McIntosh takes a slapper, deflected, hits the timber. Henry got in front of that one. So as we were following the play, I don't actually know what happened in the backfield, but obviously Kennedy made a mistake and is in the ice box. McCollum with it behind his net, being pressured heavily as they march it out. Ross to Chalice, back to Ross. And beautiful defense as the Admirals just batted all the way down the ice. Caleb Chamberlain, a little bit of pressure there from him. Freer, Lockie Freer, Callum. Back to McCollum from Chalice. Around behind the net to McIntosh. McIntosh carries behind the net. Back to McCollum. Chalice. Cross to McIntosh. Sets up McCollum for a one-timer, but it doesn't make it. So McCollum with it on the blue line. McIntosh. Tic-tackety-toe. And nice shot. Deflected, but way high into the dead zone. Whistle blown. Huge pressure from the Stampede, but great, obviously, not getting that perfect opportunity, which means the Admirals are closing up the gaps. Only 16 seconds left in that penalty, but it's over as Amston sinks one from just inside the blue line. Sniper, Stefan Amston. Spreads the distance again. 6-3, 11 minutes and 2 seconds left. They had a lot of possession. The Stampede had a lot of possession in that Admiral zone. Passing, testing, and Amston just snipered one in. Kunst with it now. So as a result, after that goal, we're even strength. And Rusky Jones taps it at the red line, so no icing is called. Kunst with it on his own blue line. Being muscled off the puck by Roby. Rusky Jones picks up a loose puck. Shot, big kick save, another shot. Controlled by Rusky Jones to the corner, back to the point where Amston keeps it in. Amston has it again. It bounces up to the red line. Rusky Jones over the blue line, fires it in. And Harrison blocks a clearing bounce and carries it to the corner. Nice work by Connor Harrison there. Pick up that bouncing puck. Can't quite center it, was Devlin. Coyle with it. Coyle rails it around to Devlin behind the net. Devlin and McLeish battling for it. Connor Harrison ends up with it. Fires it just behind the net. Ross. Coyle steps out. Offside is the call. Coyle couldn't keep that in. And McLeish has it. McLeish fires it all the way down, forcing Brooks to make a gentle save. True. Devlin. Back to Coyle. Coyle feeding Freer. Lockie Freer pushed into the boards by Chamberlain, but he's got help by with Ross. Back to the point and cleared out to the red line where Coyle picks it up. Coyle feeds Devlin on the blue line. And Devlin just flicks it into the timber. I don't think he meant to, but there was a freight train coming and he wasn't wanting to stay on the tracks. All right, offside, or no, sorry, just off the timber, on the offside dot. Sebastian Chamberlain with it, fans on it, trips, taps, shot. Swell opportunity there for, and Chaba covers up with Chamberlain missing that pass. Then he fell, leaving that puck exposed for the Stampede. And Chaba makes some great saves there. 8 minutes, 45 seconds left. Getting ahead of myself here. Freer takes a quick shot just wide. And Admirals tap it out. McCollum across to Freer. Freer taps ahead to McIntosh. McIntosh takes a shot, and Chaba makes a save off of that. Some interesting passing. Wonderful to see early in the season. Remembering that all these teams, although they, lines change from year to year, so trying to regroup and connect with your line mates sometimes takes a couple games and lots of practice. Freer keeping it in. Daigle, cross ice. Here Jones skates it in behind the net. Picked up by Chellis. Chellis fires it up for Freer. Freer off a skate and off the timber into the dead zone. So there'll be a face-off on the offside dot. Just on the Stampede side of halfway. Rusky Jones up against Moses. Daigle picks that up. Cross ice. Bounces it all the way behind the net where Amston picks it up. Armstrong can't collect that pass, and Daigle bats it back into the Stampede zone. Roby can't collect it on the blue line, and it's Winston Lee. Big hustle from him over the red line, over the blue line, and into Stampede area. McLeish with it on the red line. McLeish just taps it in, and Amston picks that up. Amston's got Burns, cross ice, where Ross picks it up through. Leaves for Devlin. Devlin takes a shot. Wide. Kunst with it. Kunst. And big rolling puck there, just bounces off the side of the net. Exciting some of the Admirals because from a certain angle it would have looked like it went in. No such luck. Shot covered up by Brooksy. So face-off will be to the right of Brooks. 6 minutes, 53 seconds left. Richie is still up watching this. Exciting hockey. Coyle with it behind his own net. Tom Coyle. True, rails it up, but not out. Kept in. And it fired back behind the net. Vandermeerling has it. Skates it to the point. McLeish, quick shot. Ross boogies down the ice. Hammers on the brakes. Passes across to Harrison. Harrison, the puck's covered up by a body, and so he can't quite get a handle on it. Forcing McCullum back to Ross. Goes through a few bodies and slowed down. It's railed up but not out. McCullum keeps it in. Cross ice behind the net, and Kunst up to Vesper. Vesper takes a shot, and McCullum with it. Freer, Lockie Freer to McIntosh, skates. Shot, backhand shot right on the money, but Chubba's all over that. And McIntosh feeds back where Freer, Mitchell Freer has to pick it up to Amston, rails it up. Kick to the side. And the puck's deflected out with both teams having a line change. Faceoff will be in the Stampede zone to the right of Ashton Brooks. Amston to Roby, can't collect it. Icing's the call. No, not sure why. But Regan has it. Regan over the blue line, shut down his shot, but picks up the rebound and carries behind the net. It's cleared up, but not out. Off a pad. Admirals are kind of playing a full court press. Pressing quite hard, trying to get that opportunity. Drag themselves within, shorten the distance between the lead. Beautiful work by Chamberlain, centering. Big feed to Burns. Burns, he's got Roby with him. Burns just puts it on. And it's played. And whistle is blown. Chubba did play that, but it's going all the way back. So 4 minutes and 8 seconds left. Face off to the left of Brooks. Ross pushes past Kennedy. Ross tries to do a stuff it under Chubba's pad, but he'll have none of that. Beautiful work all the way down the ice by Ross. On the point is Coyle. Coyle shot wide and head high. A few people had to duck. And True with it. True Feeds Ross. Ross just rails it in for Devlin in the corner as he has to battle by himself because the Stampede are having a line change. Freer taps it off the boards, but McLeish ends up with it. McLeish over the blue line. Once again, Brooks stops it with his glove, but doesn't collect it. Freer, big feed to McIntosh, cross ice. He's got McCullum with him. McCullum can't control that pass. Centering pass, no one there to collect it. And it's on the boards and out to the red line. Chalice with it. Chalice, Freer taps it up, and something happened. So face off in the offside dot, or center ice dot. 2 minutes, 46 seconds, 6-3, Stampede in the lead. Oh, changed their mind, back to the offside dot. Just a little bit to the left of Chuba. McIntosh up against Regan. Sebastian Chamberlain feeds up. Regan ends up with it. Nice backhand pass to Kuntz, who snipers it in on Aston Brooks. Wow. That was very nice passing. Regan, Kunst in the net. Starting to develop some great combinations there for the Admirals. 2 minutes, 36 seconds left. Six to 4. 2 minutes is a lifetime in hockey time. In dog years. No, in hockey years. Rusky Jones up against Regan. Stampede forced all the way back. Kunst can't keep it in. Sorry, he does keep it in. And finally, Rusky Jones digs it out. Armstrong bats it all the way onto the net from the red line. Armstrong picks up the board off the puck off the boards. Centering pass. But Roby couldn't tap that in. Burns with it. Burns, cross ice. Armstrong fires it down into Admiral zone. Kunst with it. Kunst over the blue line. Red line. Into the corner. And something's unhappy. Roby. Jack Roby's going into the... We'll find out what he's got. Hooking. Timeout called. Well. 1 minute, 47 seconds left. 6 to 4. Admirals are on a power play. What to do? Great time to thank our sponsors here around Queenstown. Takes many to make a team. Of course, the Queenstown Ice Hockey Club, Eventifying, SkyCity Queenstown, Tilemax, LBRP Consulting, AWS Legal, Queenstown Health, Cook Brothers Construction, Crete Works, WT Partnerships, James Allen Photography, and MediaWorks, and Sign It. So if you are a local, please help support the Stampede by supporting these sponsors. Big thank you to all our volunteers giving up their evening. Mind you, I guess you get to watch a little bit of hockey, so that's a trade-off. Regan facing off against McIntosh. McIntosh dogging Vandermeulen. And finally, Vandermeulen gets it back to Hayward Jones. Cross to Daigle. Daigle, Hayward Jones. Point. Hayward Jones with it now. Shot. Scores! What on earth have we got here? We don't have a hockey game, do we? 1 minute, 25 seconds left. The Admirals drag themselves out of the mire to make a 6-5 game. Remembering that only moments ago they were down 6-3. So, how do you play this? 1 minute, 25 seconds left. Very exciting hockey here. Last minute and a half. Admirals controlling. McIntosh feeding Chalice. Chalice. Lockie, Freer, tap. Can't get it in. Just wide of the net. Both Freer and Chalice are behind the net. Hayward Jones. And there's a chance. Cross ice to Regan. Regan steps over the blue line. Tapped off his stick. Freer slaps it down. And no icing is called. Net is empty on the Admirals. So anything goes here. As Vesper steps over the blue line. He's got Regan. Regan in front of the net. McLeish takes the shot to the corner. Less than a half a minute left. And icing is the call. Oh my goodness. People with weak hearts, turn off your YouTube now. 6-5, 25 seconds left. Admirals are up with one extra player because they pulled their goaltenders. 6-on-5. Oh, makings for a good story here. Behind the net, Amston. It's Lockie Freer. Daigle with it. Daigle trying to center. Puck rolling around in front, now behind the net. Back to the point. Vandermeulen fakes the shot. Pumps to the corner. Stampede. Vandermeulen. Big block shot by McIntosh. And what a great ending. If you were paying for this, you got your money's worth. Wow, what an exciting ending. Both games this weekend were unpredictable and worth watching. Stampede end up victorious on both occasions, but just really not much in it. As they line up to shake hands. I'd love to thank you guys for listening. Good night, Canada. Must be 4 o'clock in the morning there. Maybe you'll be getting up early with the birds. Thanks for watching. I'm Dave Dummick. Stay tuned for our next Stampede home game. Bye.